This video is for you if you've tried antidepressants, benzodiazepines, and other mood stabilizing medications, but you're still struggling with anxiety and depression. I'm going to talk about some surprising causes of anxiety and depression. And spoiler alert, it's not a medication deficiency, and it might not be a chemical imbalance either. Hey there, it's Carrie Bailey, your functional nutritionist here. I work with people with anxiety, depression, and other weird mystery symptoms, and I help them heal. I want to welcome you to this growing community of people who are ready to bust through their anxiety and depression. If you're new here, please pop a comment below, say hi. Let's jump into today's video. There are 3 surprising causes of anxiety and depression that I want to talk about today: pathogens, toxins, and certain foods. Let's start with the pathogens. What is a pathogen? Pathogen is any kind of organism that is living off your body. It's causing disease. These might be parasites like pinworms or roundworms. These can be bacteria in your stomach. There can be a bacteria called H. pylori that can cause problems, or streptococcus that can lead to digestive issues and sinus issues. There's also viruses. Maybe you've heard of some of these. Epstein-Barr can cause problems, as well as fungi. Fungi is like mold or yeast. So if you've ever had any mold exposure, lots of us have had yeast exposures. So these can all lead to anxiety. That might surprise you. So how do they cause problems? Well, so they get inside your body and they deplete you. They deplete you of your resources. And then your body has to work really hard to fight these or to fight the inflammation. And so therefore depleting you even further. So you might be wondering, okay, how do I know if I have a parasite or a pathogen and that's the cause of my anxiety? Well, it could be the symptoms, other symptoms that you're having. Generally, people don't just have anxiety and depression. They might have headaches or fatigue or digestive issues. And so we want to look at the whole picture, the whole body, to give us clues as to what's going on there. Now, there's other tests that you can do. There are functional tests that you can do to explore more about if there's a pathogen and what that pathogen might be. Things like stool tests, blood work can give you hints, as well as organic acids. So that's going to give you the exposure to your stool, blood, and urine to figure those out. So then if you figure out you've got a pathogen, how do you get rid of it? So the best way is to eat fruits, vegetables, and herbs, whole foods, things like blueberries, apples, bananas. I love those. Vegetables like your leafy greens, your cruciferous, your broccoli. And then herbs are really healing as well. But again, sometimes people react to them, but things like garlic and onions and other foods, and that can be really healing. Now, sometimes you need to go above and beyond these healthy foods. Sometimes people have been sick for a long time, or they need a little more oomph. And in that case, I might bring in antibacterial, antimicrobial, antiviral herbs, something like oregano oil or aloe vera, really good for digestive issues, or licorice root. These types of things are going to help. So let me give you a client example. I had a client that came to us with very sudden and extreme anxiety. And we had to look at her history to figure out, like, where did this start? When did this start? To give us clues about what might have been behind that. So this client, at the time that this urgent anxiety happened, she was struggling with mom being diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, feeling really guilty that her brother was left to take care of her mom. There was a heat wave in Southern California, just a culmination of a lot of mental, emotional issues and huge stressors in her life that triggered this H. pylori, which naturally lives in your stomach, to overgrow and cause problems and cause these surges in her body. And so here's a pro tip that we did with her to start bringing down that anxiety right away. We brought in lemon water first thing in the morning, 2 cups of lemon water, fresh thing, helps to flush out those pathogens, flush out the body, get the digestive system more fired up. So we brought in some kind of, you could bring in a green juice after that. Could be cucumber juice or celery juice are the 2 that I like to bring in to really start getting rid of those pathogens. So there's another second surprising cause of anxiety and depression are toxins. There's a lot of toxins in our environment. Unfortunately, we can be exposed to heavy metals in our environment, things like mercury and aluminum. Aluminum's in your kitchen, right, with tin cans or aluminum foil, or there's sometimes even aluminum cookware. And so there can be a lot of toxin exposures there that can cause problems. And the second type of toxin that's really toxic to the nervous system is petrochemicals. And this is things like gasoline. So it's really important when you go to the gas station that you make sure there's no gas that gets on you. Try not to inhale it. If you do get gasoline on you, wash your hands right away. Don't let that gasoline absorb into your body. It's really important to get it out of the system. So one client recently, again, also lots of anxiety, pretty urgent, sudden anxiety, came out of nowhere. She'd been at the gas station and she'd filled up with gas, and then the gas overflowed and it got on her hand, it got on her shoe. Her whole shoe was saturated, and she waited until she got home to take off that shoe and wash her shoe and her foot. And so in that time, all that gasoline was absorbed into her body. So that really impacted her nervous system. She was put on a benzodiazepine Ativan, and it didn't help. And then she couldn't get off the Ativan, and she got into this nasty circle of not being able to heal. The third type of toxin is a neurotoxin, and these are given off by the viruses and bacteria that live in your body. So this is part of their waste, right? So just like they eat off of you, they poop in you, right? If you will. And they're going to give off neurotoxins that are going to impact your nervous system and your brain and impact your anxiety. So it's important to get a handle on those pathogens. So here's the third surprising cause of anxiety and depression, and that is the foods that we eat. So certain foods can grow these pathogens and make them worse, and then there's certain foods that help them. So let's talk first about foods that are going to make the pathogens worse. These would be things like gluten, dairy, and eggs. Those are my top three to really take out for a bit while you heal. And also the things, this is going to surprise you because you hear a lot about keto, a lot about carnivore diet, but too much fat or animal protein can also contribute to anxiety. It's very surprising, right? So you want to bring in as many whole foods, organic foods as possible. Fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, but not too much fat. Keep that fat count low. I'd love to hear your ahas from today. I'd love to hear what you're doing that's helping your anxiety and depression symptoms. Add a comment below. Let me know how things are going for you. And if you need a little extra support, I've got a gorgeous anxiety and depression recovery guide. Look for the link down in the bottom of this video, and you'll find access to all my recipes, tips, and tricks to really help you get started on this journey of healing your anxiety and depression. Thanks so much for being here. See you in the next video.